Our next speaker of mine is he's been involved in Detroit, man, for it seems like forever. He's continuing the legacy of the Black Panther Party, and he's growing with the times. And I think that's the problem with our community, and the reason for some of the stagnation of our community. We haven't grown with the times. Some of us still want to act like it's the 60s and the 70s and the 50s. It's 2010. And regardless of growing with the times and understanding what he's learned, continue that legacy with the coalition against police brutality, which is still going on in our community. But you understood that.
I just have to do it. This is Chantel. How many Chantel? 10 months. Okay, he'll say it next week. Anyway, I just want to bring him up because, Vincent, when you were spitting that piece, he was like right there. Detroit's youngest hip-hop artist. Oh, that ain't hype. How many people love Detroit? Essentially, we're supposed to be a city conceived in liberty. Conceived with the spirit that we can rise from the ashes and deal with any problem. I'm glad that Yusuf mentioned that I've been around long enough to say that we're continuing something. Because Grace Lee Boggs used this term, and I was laughing about it a lot of times. She'll just sit there and say something like, oh, that guy is stuck. He's stuck. And a lot of people are stuck. But the fluidity of what we're seeing today and what we're seeing, the imagination, the respiriting, the transformation of things is truly exciting. And it's exciting because you see it everywhere from this baby to individuals who can hardly walk. I just came from a discussion about how we transform a city from a city of chaos and violence into a city of peace. I talked to Ruth yesterday. She was talking about how are we doing anything in terms of mediation, conflict resolution, restorative justice. All of those statements were also mentioned, and we talk about, and Yusuf was talking about who people dealt with and how some of the people who were the dispossessed were dealt with. What we do is a transformation and a revisioning of who we are, where we are, something that transforms the negative or the reactionary situations that exist into new ways of thinking. And we talked about, well, we said we need to create neighborhood zones and so forth. He, Sandra Hines, and some of the others, Tijuana Morris and I, we talked about it, and we came up with peace zones for life. It just so happened, you never know when you say something or do something, how other people may be responding to it. That has hit a chord in terms of what people are looking for. People do not want to be defined by the absence of what they are, but they seek to be defined about the wholeness of what they can be. And that's what we've hit. So when we talked about peace zones for life, one of the things we said that we needed to do is we have to bring people together to resolve things themselves. Found out through the gardens what we have to do is we have to have an economic base that deals with people. We found out that we have to have a mechanism to actually defuse and resolve conflicts before they come up. We found out we have to have an intergenerational approach, that we can't just do it with old people and middle-aged people. We got to do it with younger people. We found out that we got to communicate with one another. So if a brother's walking down the street with a hoodie on his head, you walk up to him and say, what's up, what's happening, how you doing? Instead of talking about, like one famous politician said, every time I see him, I walk across the street because I got to admit that I'm afraid. Not to say that there aren't people who would do wrong things to you, but the situation is when you live in fear, you act in fear. And when you act with fear, you act as less than a human being. Dr. King never acted in fear. Never acted in fear. The people, we can clap for that. The people, and I'm going to conclude soon, but I had to learn, both as a member of the Black Panther Party and others in life, that the real scripture, I'm quoting more of it, Bill, that I related to was, and it's just a general statement, I don't remember it exactly. It says, ours is not the spirit of fear.
God has not given us a spirit of fear. He's given us a love,
Stand up
power,
and tell
and
it.
a
Say
sound
it,
mind.
say it, say it loud.
Okay, we can sing it. God has not given us a spirit of fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear. He has given us love, given us power. He's given us a sound mind. Thank you,
Hey. Thank you, Ruth. But I said that because at some point in my life I had to realize, and Wayne can attest to this, and anybody who's been involved, is that you ran a true risk of dying or whatever. But the reality is, it's not all about that. You cannot act in fear. You cannot live like that. Till the soil, to till the soul, and to build a new community, the beloved community. And who is, and it says on two sides of the spirit of Detroit, it talks about the family, the community, man. That's what the spirit of Detroit downtown talks about. So we're re-spiriting Detroit. We represent the new spirit of Detroit. And it's not the big green man downtown, but it's the young baby. It's Invincible, Yusuf, Wayne, Myrtle, Bill, Rich. That's the new spirit of Detroit. And so you should feel great today. You should feel excited today. Because when they were down in Montgomery, Alabama, and they tried to blow up Martin Luther King's house, age 26, he could have said, I'm out of here. I graduated from Morehouse. I can make some money. I don't need this. But he didn't do that. Neither did Coretta Scott King. And let's not leave her out of it. Because she was really tougher than he was. And the deal of it is, people who worked in the post office here raised money and sent it there. People in the UAW raised money and sent it there. People in the NAACP raised money and sent it there. People who were across the spectrum raised money and sent it there. When Emmett Till was killed, Detroit gave more money than anybody to deal with it. So you live in a historic setting at a historic time when we can really reshape and transform humanity. And that's what we're trying to do with Peace Zones for Life. That's what we will do with Peace Zones for Life. We gave them a plaque, and we're going to make sure, and it was done in the honor of Robert Tazzy Mitchell, a young man who was 15 years old, who was killed by the Warren police. And I'll conclude with this. The mother said, she could have said, I hate the Warren police. I hate the white people in Warren. That would have been the old way. The mother said, I'm not going to blame the people of Warren for what some people did. And she reached out. She had hundreds of phone calls from people in Warren. We did 2 marches there. We had hundreds of people come out. We're going to get more from Warren. We're planning to do other things. But in order to re-spirit, we have to revision who we are. And we can't let the old labels and the old symbols and the old ways keep us from moving ahead. If Dr. King had done that, we would not be sitting here today. Just like when I started, I talked about the guy in Grosse Pointe. There I am sitting in Grosse Pointe with a former producer of rock and roll talking about his daughter wanting to re-spirit Detroit in 2010. That could not have happened unless they had the courage to move forward from victimization to transformation. All right.